17th meditation Q&A with Wendy Nash and I. Wendy, what's going on?
Oh, well, I'm here on Gubby Gubby Country in Queensland, and while we were just talking, and you've had black ice yesterday. We were sweating. Actually, yesterday I don't think was too bad, but boy, it has been so hot here. So we moved slightly closer to the sun, and I think you moved further out towards the other end of the galaxy.
It's pretty wild, this cold snap and then these extreme temperatures, more and more of that recently. But, well, we're entitling this meditation spaces. So last time we talked about nomadic meditation, about all the different places we meditate and all the different topics surrounding that. And today I thought we'd actually do something different and show like physical meditation spaces.
Sorry, I just got a bit
And
distracted there with the YouTube.
you did, yes. And so I plan to show some spaces for, inspiration, creativity. We'll just comment on some of these spaces. And I just wanted to give a disclaimer up front here that we don't own the copyright to any of these images, nor are we claiming them. We're not going to make any money off of this. So please, if you're really interested in a particular space, use like reverse image search, find out who the copyright holder is, contact them and give them money, and get in it that way, because I didn't keep track of any of these, and we'll try to keep them brief in order for fair use. Yada yada disclaimer. Yep.
So I think you sent me a couple of links, and we can certainly say the name of the URL in case people want to do that. But again, we have no commercial or any other affiliation with any of these places. We've just, been ordinary, boring citizens who have just searched on Google and gone, oh, look at that. Actually, Josh did all the work. I've done no work.
Well, you've showed up here and add your lovely presence and helpfulness as well, Wendy. So, okay, so this is the link for this. Just go to integratingpresence.com, and today is the 23rd of January, 2024. So it was the post right before this one. So right around there, you'll see a post that includes all these images. Without any further ado, let's see here.
So while you're bringing up the image so you and I can see it, and probably our person can see it, just a heads up, we go on to Decoist. So it's decoist.com, decoist.com, /meditation-rooms-spaces. And I guess I get... Whoa.
Oh, no. Whoa, hang on. Let's see. No, so Wendy, something happened with the screen share. Is it working now?
Now we've got screen share, definitely. But okay. Did you get that image from that URL I just said, or is that...
I did. More than likely, yes. But I don't know if it's going to be feasible to give all the URLs there to find them.
No, I just thought if that's where you got them, then that's sort of where it is. That's as good a place as any to start. And maybe you found them from somewhere else. I can't see them anywhere else on here. But gee, some of these ones look pretty cool, I'd have to say. You did some good work there, Josh.
Well, I appreciate it. So yeah, if you want to find out, these images are, like I said, on they're all collected. There's a few links where more than one of the images came from, so you can find them that way, or some of them anyway. So, okay, so starting off here, this just looks like somebody's, space here. I don't know if that's a mirror on the screen.
Yeah, I think so. But I've got. I think you're sitting in your car, looking at your tiny little phone. I've got I'm on a website. So how about laptop. I describe it, because I can see it quite well.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. So it does look like someone's got a white. It's a white little room, like slightly larger than a broom closet, and some bookshelves on either side, a stool on one side, and two what's called zafus. And zafus are those meditation cushions that look like, I don't know, just flat little cushions that are quite heavy and hard. And there's clearly a mirror on one side, a round mirror, and some greenery.
There is, yeah. I think maybe the greenery is reflected in the mirror there, and it looks like a radiator too. So it looks like a nice, warm, cozy spot.
It is so it must be in the Northern Hemisphere. I missed that one because we don't have radiators here like that.
And then we've got it looks like a couple lights up top. But anyway, yeah, we're both of us are good at giving verbal descriptions. So yeah, if this is some ideas for converting one space, a little nook for meditation. Now this next one here, this is actually I think from a major newspaper, and I think this is someplace in New York City. So pretty wild looking space there with I guess sacred geometry top or ceiling. And the lighting is just wild. So we'll go into things like meditation halls, caves, huts, pods, chairs, spaces, indoor and outdoor.
Have you just that previous one, because
Sure.
that's in New York? Have you ever been to? I've never been to New York.
I have. It was in like 2005 though, so I was only there for a few days. It was a completely different person at that time,
Okay. So
And I'm just in New York City. I could probably spend like days on just a single block and not see everything. If I could go into all the buildings,
okay, all right.
It's just so
Okay,
compressed.
that looks.
Now
It looks,
around this,
so
it looks like
that one is just
a seating around it.
yeah.
Seating
It's
around the
got
side,
seating
right?
around the
Yeah.
outside. It's a wooden floor.
Mhm.
It's got this crisscross pattern from a bloom above. I guess it's sort of quite nice.
Mhm.
It looks like maybe it's a yurt, or it's got a tent, or it's some kind of fabric covering, and some pretty groovy 1960s lighting. I guess I would say that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think and just a guy sitting there in the middle of the room. I would have to say, for me, that's not a place that I'd be so keen to sit on. It looks a bit hard and comfortable. You'd want some cushions and some zafus and things like that. But if it was set up so that you would be physically comfortable, probably, yeah, kind of interesting. Yeah, because definitely the
Very
space
much
that you
so.
sit in does make a difference in terms of the experience you have. If you're physically comfortable, then definitely it makes it better, for sure.
Well, right on. And just maybe this will be a little awkward because I can't get the visual cues from Wendy, but we can hear each other. And I think the verbal descriptions are great for those just listening on the podcast or the audio version. Of course, if you are still, go and check out the visual version. You'll like this, or at least go to the website and flip through these real quick. You don't have to spend as much time again re-listening. Also, these these look like cane poles. Wooden rods or something that are all interwoven or behind each other and whatnot, making the design holding up if it's a tent or not. All right. Now this next one looks like maybe a loft space. So it looks like there's you can, if you'd like to give the description, Wendy.
Sure. Just in case you can hear a little bit of a tinkle here, my cat is sitting right here on her little own special Zen cushion, otherwise known as a chair, a chair cushion. But so she's doing her thing. So what have we got? It's again, so clearly beige is the color of Zen, because pretty much everything seems to be like that. Wooden floor. Oh no, it's got a dark floor, and then it's got a couple of rugs. One is a sort of a wooden kind of maybe bamboo matting, and then another one which is more of a cloth matting. It's at the top of a stairwell. A little looks like it's got a stool on one side as a bit of a shrine with some pots or stones or something, maybe a candle, and then the person presumably sits in a beige chair, like a lounge chair with a cushion, and they've got a wooden stool and a cushion. I don't know, maybe when your legs get tired. And then on one side it's got a bookshelf, but everything is very beige. So I think it's architects or interior designer Zen space.
Yes, and it's kind of like a slope, right? So this is up near the ceiling of the building, I guess. Now we've got about 80, I think, some images to get through. And some of these I wouldn't say are just places just for meditation, but they're meditative-like spaces, and while some of them are more formal. Now we look at this one, and this almost looks like something out of a tiki. I don't know, my lights went off here. But it doesn't matter. We're looking at the screen, I think, for now. And tiki, like a tiki bar almost. There's a lot going on this. It might take quite a while to describe this. I'll just say this looks a little more like a group meditative space. Maybe there's a sand, like a Zen rock garden or sand thing in the middle with candles, tables with more candles. Some other tables with more candles, and this is like a wooden hut that looks like it's partially covered from the elements. A wall beyond it that's maybe another kind of structure, or maybe that's a wall protecting the outdoors. So I'm not quite sure. And something in the middle hanging down, almost looks like a pendulum or something, but I don't know. And there's some stones. You have any other things to add to this, Wendy?
I would say it looks like a meditation space in Asia that was designed for Westerners to go on nice, expensive meditation retreats.
Yes.
When you go to sort of Buddhist meditation places, they don't look like that. That's for sure.
No, they
So
do not.
this looks like, you know, a sort of a fashionable, nice. They would do yoga retreats and maybe feminist awakening embodiment, and it looks like one of those sorts of places. Very beautiful, very beautiful.
Yes.
So not to be, yeah. So
yeah, just different than what Wendy and I are used to. And yes, okay. So the next one just looks like a corner of one's apartment, or you know.
yeah,
And
it's
some interesting. Yep. go
Yeah,
ahead.
so just looking at that, I'd have to say that one is not a place where I would want to meditate, because it's got a rather lumpy, a sort of very stylish, interesting knot, I guess, eternal knot cushion in the middle of the room, and then it's got a sort of 1950s mid-century chair which has got something on it, which means you couldn't probably sit on it. It looks like it's there for the look, but rather
Yes.
than the comfort, for sure.
Yes, exactly. So this isn't a formal meditation space the way it is. It's maybe a little bit of a quiet area, meditative like space, but not something for formal regular sitting practice, it looks like.
To be honest, it looks like something that has been created to make a photo, because I can still see the rug in the middle has a fold mark in the middle of it. So I think it's one of those images which is there for hey, we're really to be part of the in crowd or whatever. So to promote, I don't know. That's not a useful one
totally.
to me. That's what I think.
And look at all the a massive amount of detail that we're picking out of these. This is great. And Wendy's only seen these for the first time, I think, or maybe she looked at them earlier. I'm not sure.
I didn't have a chance. You sent them through this morning, and I've just had a flat chat day. So no, none of that. I'm seeing.
So we get fresh eyes here, and all the detail she's pointed out already. Now this one looks fairly inviting. With I don't know about that wicker chair but the kind of IKEA-like reclining chair. I think those are comfortable every once in a while. I mean, if you're looking to support your own weight, of course, a chair is not the best thing. Some chairs are better where you can sit on towards the edge and use your back to support all your weight. But a chair chairs like these are made to use the back. Lots of carpet. The natural stone, if it's not a facade, looks nice. And there is a meditation cushion there, or something like a zafu, but then the zebuton is the thing that offers support for the legs, the like matted cushion that goes below the zafu, but I don't see one of those there.
Well, it does have a rug or a carpet underneath it, so you wouldn't necessarily need it, because it does look quite thick and lush, plush, I guess. I would prefer to sit in the wicker chair on that one, and I'm a bit naughty because I actually sit in bed. I meditate in bed in the mornings after my first cup of tea, I must say, because I have a kettle by my bedside table, so I just make do that first thing in the morning. I think so far, this one feels the most inviting and warm, but I get more the sense that it's a bit contrived. It's done a little bit to the image of the photo, rather than it being someone's real lived experience.
I totally agree, and then the plants are really nice too. Now this is really interesting. Oh, the fireplace back there too. Now this is supposedly some kind of meditation pod chair chamber, and I guess I didn't read much about it or look much about it, but I guess one of the ideas is you put the lid down and I don't know about the lighting situation, if you can choose different lighting methods or something like this. And also, I think they play like binaural beats or a sound system around it. I'm not exactly sure what goes on with these things, but you could probably look that up and find out more about it. Unfortunately, I don't feel like I'm anything I said is with 100% accuracy. So if you look it up, like meditation chair pod, I personally am not into like the artificial means, but some people find that can accelerate practice, or at least for a little bit. But then I hear things like, well, the people have to undo what they've done with those things and these frequencies and things. So I don't think the verdict's still out of what if I could recommend anything like that or not. I haven't used
I
one, so I
didn't
would
know.
definitely want to use one first before
I
I
didn't
comment.
know about all that. We'll pick that
Mm,
up in another episode, actually. That would be a great topic for maybe next episode. We could do,
we can.
you know,
We're,
sort of alpha wave and binaural beats, and maybe have a bit of a discussion about whether we think that's helpful.
that's a really
Yeah,
good
this
idea,
looks
Wendy.
actually, yeah, this looks like it's part of a chair show. Because I can see just to the right there's other chairs and it's a
Yes,
different space. So it looks like it's actually part of a sales thing.
could be.
I don't know. I would feel a bit weird by that one because I just don't want to feel, I don't like to feel trapped. So that would
Yeah.
freak me out being in that, to
That's
be
another
honest.
thing. Maybe we could talk about too the isolation chambers, or oh yeah, like the what do they call it? Float tanks. I don't know if Wendy's ever done one of those, or we could talk about these artificial meditation methods or something like that. And
Yeah,
you know,
let's do that.
our next show though, we do have titled "How Time Meditates." Just a little teaser there. The title is a little bit kind of provocative, maybe mysterious, but we'll that's the next one, and then we'll look into maybe doing one of these ones on other meditation methods that are more artificial. Okay, so another internal one. This looks a little bit like a thrown together thing, but there's I've never seen a Zafu like that. It looks almost hand knitted. What do you think about this, Wendy?
Yeah, it looks like that. The thing is, if you had it like that, it would be quite. It would probably. I don't know if you sat on that. It would just be a bit ridged on, under your backside. It would just probably hurt after a while. I don't know how much you could really attend to it. I don't have a sense that that would be a a useful. Yeah,
I,
yeah. I think these ones are, a lot of them are for look and
mhm,
sort of the Pinterest thing. I don't know
mhm.
that you could ever really get into the enjoyment of it. That's my thing.
Well, I don't know. I've never seen. My take is, I wonder though if it's just a cover, like a regular Zafu cover doesn't have anything like that. But what if it's just a regular Zafu on the inside, but it's just has a special cover on the outside, and it's just a little bit rougher on the texture of the outside, but actually it's just a regular Zafu on the inside. I don't know. I've never seen anything like that. I wonder if somebody knitted just a cover to go around a standard Zafu thing too. Who knows?
Maybe. I realized I didn't have our, because if we have our listener, it would be very nice for somebody to say hello. We often do have M. Reed joins us, but
Yes,
today it doesn't look like she's
it
here.
is.
And I realized I just didn't have it. So apologies if you have been on the YouTube and I ignored your chat. So I do apologize. Okay, here we are. This looks more like an ordinary meditation place. This is the sort of thing that you might see on larger scale in a Buddhist center. That
Yes.
sort of thing. It looks quite familiar. But without the fancy candles and lights and mirrors and things like that. But definitely has a much more familiar tone to it, definitely. And it's got that rug underneath the knees and a little cloth. I think that actually looks sensible to me. And a
It
view
does.
out the window, yeah.
It does. The one prior to that, this one looks like a little, efficiency apartment. See through the window. There's tall buildings, so sometimes people only have so much space to work with, and so they've got to make do with what little space they have. And this one that we're talking about, yeah, it does look like it's at a bigger space because we've got all these mats and cushions and rugs. There's a pile of Zafus on the left. I do see some of these salt lamps in the middle there. That's interesting. And maybe a couple candles that are unlit in the middle, but still, yeah, in a plant, but yeah, very practical and more open space. Okay. Now this one, there is a pillow there, and it looks like a smudging of sage there in a journal. So this looks like someone's kind of sacred space where they just might spend some time. Looks like there's I don't know, just different objects on the altar, like plants and candles and crystals. And looks like there's a pyramid there, plants, books. So yeah.
Yeah, I did hear, by the way, somebody said don't use the word altar because that's where they used to sacrifice animals. So I don't know if that's true, but that's something to think about. So I've always tried to use the word shrine. I've got no idea whether the etymology or the use is correct. So if our listener would like to correct me, feel free. What's the next photo? Because a lot of these I feel are a bit, I don't know, they feel very contrived. There we are. Here we are. We've got 20 people meditating. This is more like it. This is a Zen one for sure.
Yes, looks like a Zendo. I don't know where this is. If anyone knows, chime in on the comments. And yeah, with the sliding walls, I haven't really been to too many huge Zendos. It just the one Zen space I went to, Soto Zen, was just in a house and in a neighborhood, so nothing like this. Now this the listener, someone commented. I would just really quickly, I totally agree with that. There's a lot of Abrahamic religions and other things that nothing per se against them, but there was in certain times there were blood sacrifices on altars and all kinds of interesting things going. So I think shrine, I would agree with that. I have to be mindful of my speech here, and I do agree that's a more helpful term.
Just going back to the previous one, the Zendo, the first retreat I did, which was 8 days, and with almost no experience. Don't do that, by the way. It's too much when you're beginning. I should have definitely not done that. But that one, it was a Zendo, and then it looked out onto it was in the middle of a field, and it was great because I looked out and I got to see this beautiful, lovely green landscape. It was divine. And it was very interesting to see how my mind changed over the course of the week. And that experience has never left me. So that was very nice. So I have fond memories of that.
I remember you mentioning this on the last one, and actually go back and listen to that if you haven't listened to that. Whoever's listening to this, because Wendy goes into more details about that experience, and I find it fascinating. And I've heard people going into the 10-day Goenka retreats, not even knowing what, having ever even heard of meditation before. I mean, that's pretty wild. That's pretty intense, I hear. Something like that. Okay, so this looks like a room that somebody's converted, a space, or I guess just a regular room in the house. Although it's not a standard square room, right? Are the walls angled or something? Either way, there's a shrine there. Go ahead. Yeah, you take it.
I think it's an ordinary room, but it's got some panorama a vision set on the camera. It looks. It has a shrine at one end underneath the window and a lovely mat. It does look like there might be some cushions and rugs or something in one corner.
Yes.
It does look like the sort of space a person might use, but for some weird reason, all these rooms have to be beige or wooden. I don't know what that's about. I haven't seen one which looks anything like what people actually have at home. I mean, this is a very nice, attractive space, but have you ever has your meditation space ever looked like that, Josh?
I haven't seen so much beige recently. I don't know what's going on with this, but yeah. So yeah, and this is another thing that comes up because the meditation space can be a multi-use space, right? It doesn't have to have the cushion layout there all the time. So I like this one where it can be tucked away and brought out each time we meditate. And then like there looks like a desk on the side there. So it can be multi-purpose if we only have so much room to work with. Now this one, there's some nice soft cushions there. This looks a little bit, I don't know, but then there's some of these shingles on the left-hand side. I think this is right before you go outside. It's hard to tell because there's like a veil there. I don't know if it's partially open to the elements. It kind of looks like. I don't know if there's glass there or whatever. I don't know what else to say about this one, Wendy.
I think they've got some sheer drapes coming down, and it looks like, again, one of those places you might find in Asia where people, wealthy Westerners, go there on retreat and have a particular Asian Western retreat. It's completely nothing like if you were sort of more into the Buddhist meditation stuff that is a
Sure.
Buddhist meditation thing. Nothing like that. And even what I've been to is more Western than what most locals would have in Asia. And in fact, Asians, it's not part of their Buddhist cultural practice is to meditate. So yeah, often that's a Western, very strong Western thing to be meditating, I think.
Yeah, I think, well, it depends on where you're at and what kind of practitioners there are. But yes, I would definitely say there's more devotional practices
Mm,
in Asia than there are hardcore meditative
yeah.
sittings. Although I don't know. I think in Burma, I haven't been to Burma, but I think there's a lot of fairly serious lay practitioners there too. But I don't know. Now this, it's hard for me to tell. It looks like a reflection in a mirror, actually several mirrors. This looks like a little bitty tent or meditation pod. And some of these actually just have different geometries that some people say they'll experience different feelings or sensations or activity or I don't know how to say this. And you'll see some pyramids later about people experience different things while meditating in them, just like some people might experience certain, I don't know, mystical states or something when they are just different inspirations when they're meditating at holy sites. But I don't know enough of I think some of the science has been done on these things. Some of it might be considered pseudoscience. So I'll just say this is an interesting shape. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think once you're inside of it, you can meditate.
Yeah, just a heads up about the word Burma. The country
Hmm.
changed.
Oh, Myanmar, Burma. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like to
quite
say
a while
actually
ago.
both of them.
I mean, sort of
It
maybe,
has, yeah.
20 years, 20, 30 years ago, I think it
Hmm.
changed from Burma
Hmm.
to Myanmar. So, or
Good points.
Myanmar. So just a heads up on that.
Yes. I
Um,
appreciate that too. I like to use both of the names because I know there's a loaded political situation that I know nothing about and I have no interest really to get into it. So I kind of just say both of the names when I'm more conscious in order to not um, to not stir up anything because I know if you use one or the others, one camp might get offended. So I use both of them. So I have no. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't. So thank you for that. I forgot to say Myanmar. Thank
it's
you.
all right. Okay. So
Hmm.
yeah, that looks like it's trying to do some space agey intergalactic travel or something. All right. So, yeah, again,
Yeah.
you're in the dark on this one, aren't you? Sort of, it's got a spacey kind of. So here are the
Mhm.
options. You can have beige, you can have wicker and tree, wood, flower, plant,
Mhm.
or you can have intergalactic. These are our options. Which
This is wild. This looks like a really a lot of money went into this. This space, or maybe not. But these looks like huge wood pillars and rafters, and then a lot more wood, and then lighting. Lots of very specialty lighting. Yeah, so this is interesting. I don't know what else to say about it. Now, this looks like a traditional meditation hall.
this is the one that I've seen 500,000 times. This is so. Let's explain this one because this is actually quite interesting.
Mhm.
It is. It has sort of a dark cream color, so not quite that
Mhm.
white, Zen look that we've seen on the previous ones.
Mhm.
It's got a lovely parquetry floor, a parquetry roof, ceiling, I would say, with some little downlights. It looks like a Western meditation hall, probably, given it's brown, probably in one of the Theravada traditions, but potentially from, a Burmese one, a Myanmar one. That would be my guess.
Mhm.
Maybe Thai or from Laos. Anyway, Cambodia,
Mhm.
one of those. It's got a few chairs on the side
Mhm.
for as in one Asian temple they said, yes, we people with disabilities and Westerners can use the chairs. So I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
the statement of it. Yes, people with disabilities, old people, and Westerners use chairs. The rest of us, have to be lower than the teacher. So that's why there are all the cushions at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so that looks like a very standard, some little of those little brown square cushions and some zafus. And at the
Indeed.
front, there would be a shrine and a couple of windows on either side. This is a
That
nice space, that.
it is, and I think this is actually from, obviously a Buddhist meditation center. I forget which tradition too. Of course, it looks like they're on an upper level because of the tree there. I could be wrong though. And of course, the Buddha Rupa. It's hard to tell. It does look like it's made out of wood, but the it's kind of low res. Okay, so now these are actual Zafus here in assorted colors. This looks like it was set up looks like somebody just threw some meditation cushions in a room that was already there and called it a meditation space. However, that rug, the legs might feel okay on that rug. I don't know, but
I
yeah, if
don't
you
know.
want
It's
to
a
build a
bit
fire,
lumpy. It's
it
got
is a
some
bit
sort of.
lumpy. Yeah.
It looks a bit lumpy to me, and it looks a bit. Yeah, I don't know what that space is. Anyway,
We'll go on to the next one. Yeah, wood, and it looks rustic. Now, this looks very maybe Oriental. I'm not sure, and I don't know if that's an actual window.
Japanese.
I was thinking this. Yeah, I don't know if the if that's actually the nature outside or if that's a elaborate window or Photoshop thing. But either way, yeah, wood floors and candles, and yeah. Well,
Yeah, I mean, it's very aesthetic. It's not
mhm.
beige, which is quite nice.
Yes.
And it's not got the wicker thing, which is quite nice. And it's not
Hmm.
got the weird space age thing. So
Hmm.
that it actually looks, I mean, that looks like a space that I would quite enjoy to be on. I would.
Yeah.
How about you, Josh?
Yes, looks very clean and simple, not overly done, and if that is the actual view outside, that would be amazing. I'm all
Yeah,
about the nature.
definitely.
Now here we've got looks like an upper apartment in or space in a city or a town. Looks like there's some green space outside. Plant here, hardwood floors, an interesting shelf with all kinds of knickknacks and sacred objects, or meditative like objects. And yeah, there's actually a yoga mat and a cushion there. So there it is.
Yeah, I think that looks like it might actually be some kind of space that a
Hmm.
person might use.
Yep.
That looks like something
Yes.
actually someone does use. You know?
Yes. It looks like it could be a yoga studio, maybe, or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
maybe.
Someone's
Yeah,
yoga space as well.
yeah.
And this looks like somebody's kind of in their house, right? Like the big emphasis on the shrine there. That's lovely Buddha rupas, and I forget the devotional characters, or maybe arhats or monks on the bottom with the Ananjali mudra, and another Buddha rupa. Uh, yeah, so that's kind of inspiring. And then, of course, more Buddha rupas and other forms and statues in the shelves. And of course, you've got probably Dhamma books on the shelves below it. It looks like some seats there on a maybe bamboo mat. Maybe it's a reading space. Maybe that's their library. Um,
I think this is going to be a room in a temple where
okay, yeah.
people meditate. That looks to me like that Gandhara. So I don't know if you're aware of this, the Gandhara
Mm.
Buddha. Do you know what I'm referring to with that?
Well, Gandhar, yeah, and actually, that's some of the least stuff I'm familiar with. I was at the British Museum and saw their Gandhar exhibition, but no, tell me more, Wendy.
So the Buddha, for the first, I don't know, 1,000 or what, 2,000 years, was the image of that was a footprint or a Dharma
Ah,
wheel. That's all
yes.
you had. It was that's all you had, which
Mhm.
symbolized the Dharma or the Buddha. And then Alexander the Great came across from
Mhm.
where he was from Macedonia, and
Mhm.
he gallivanted and murdered along the way. And he was a strapping buff kind of guy, and it became very popular to be very buff, and so Buddha became buff at that time. He became this toned dude who sat there in peace. But that's actually not went for the first 1,000 years or whatever. That was far from how the Buddha was portrayed. So there
Mhm.
you go.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point too. I don't think the Buddha, if I remember right, he didn't advocate having images of him, of a human form with like that, and it wasn't until Alexander the Great. I do want to say there was a few other symbolic ones they used, like an empty throne, and I don't know. The deer has also and has played a role. There might be a couple other ones, but yeah, like you're saying, the wheel and the footprints were the most predominant. Now we've got a stand. I think the standing Buddhas. Do you see them? That's there's a website called Original Buddhas or Antique Buddhas. A guy in the Netherlands sells. He goes all over Asia and to looking for antique, older, high end or higher end Buddha rupas, and he has a whole warehouse and he sells them online. I've got a couple. One's from Nepal, I think. Anyway, there can be quite inspiring to see some of these things.
It's quite
Mhm.
controversial for that. Just as a heads up, there's
Sure.
quite a lot of question now about
Mhm.
whether Westerners have the right to.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a
Mhm.
lot of repatriation
Mhm.
of. Uh, so in Australia, we have a lot of sacred objects that Aboriginal people
Mhm.
had stolen from them when white Europeans came, and they just took it
Mhm.
and said, "This is what it
Mhm.
is," and they put it in an object as an item of curiosity. But this is people's lived
Sure.
experience, and
Sure.
there's quite a lot of that kind of.
Mhm.
So now many countries like France and England are
Mhm.
having to return those objects back to their
Oh yeah.
rightful owners. So I
Sure.
caution
Yeah.
against
Mhm.
buying those just because
Okay.
you don't know the ethics of how that person
That's
came
right.
by it,
So
whether it was
I would.
stolen or you don't, whether that was
Mhm.
given generously or whether that was
Sure.
a stolen artifact. So just be
S-
careful on that
So
stuff.
Oh, totally. So now this guy from the Netherlands, he's you have to, some of the really old stuff I don't know, but the one I have is only from it's not even 100 years old. So he would go to a shop, and help support the people. He has film of people doing the molds of these things, and he does new ones too. Now the super old ones, yeah, you have to go and I'm sure I've communicated with him, and so he's very open about how he sources things like this. So I would definitely recommend going there and checking out the ethical sourcing of these. So as far as I understand, he cares very much about this. No, if that one might be something to ask him too. If anyone's ever reached out and laid claim to some of the older ones, so that's a really good point. Now, I agree the most with Wendy when we're talking about things in a museum. Okay, so those are on public, and things like this, and things that have been unethically sourced and unethically gotten. That's the thing. So yes, diligence on do your due diligence on where you might source these things. So from what I understand, he personally goes around to Southeast Asia and acquires these. So yes, I don't know too much about it, but the one I have is not that old. So I'm yeah.
Yeah, cool. That I just think it's really important because people
Yes.
there is quite a lot of appropriation of Asian
Hmm.
exoticness into
Oh
Western
yeah.
life and society, and people aren't for us it's maybe just an object or a commodity, but
Mm,
uh, I think it is somebody's religious practice and with historic
mm,
in their own culture. In the same way, would you want somebody to come here and take something that was super
mm,
precious, like a temple, or something here,
mm,
like a church, something that was super precious here, and
mm,
then say, yeah, this is ours, and we're going to put it on display as, look, these weird
mm,
Westerners, look what they do. They're so
mm.
exotic, and it's sort of got a slightly weird vibe to it. So there you go. Anyway, we
Yeah,
are on. Let's look at this image.
yeah, it is. I think it's also like how sincere one is in the practice, and like if someone were to claim that, I would gladly give it back to them too. And this is maybe we could do another show about this. It's what inspires one too, and I even question either which we have, even though I have one. I mean, I like these notions of not. Having a human form that give special significance to, because the whole idea of the Buddha is this awake. It's not necessarily of a certain human at a certain time, which that might be part of it. But how do we go towards awakening for the benefit of ourselves and others, and for the environment we live in too? So having a form of a human, or a human form, when the Buddha actually claimed that he went beyond being human, right? And the whole point is to inspire awakening and practice and heart qualities, seeing reality for what it truly is. So if there's a statue that does that helps inspire and bring about that to practice, then maybe it might be helpful. But it can also fall into worshiping, and like Wendy says, having exotic tendencies or just for the art, and this looks cool. People might think I'm cool. What's the intent behind having these things? Why not just footprints or a wheel either?
Yeah.
So these are all good
For
questions.
sure.
Yeah.
So this room here that we've got, that it just looks like it probably Zen. That would be my guess from that one. And yeah, it just looks like a very small Zen space it probably is in Japan, would be my guess. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting circle area there, and kind of a double cross on the bottom, and candles, singing bowl, crossed hatch, ceiling, drop ceiling maybe. Yeah, I don't know if it's a facade or what, but it's interesting space.
Yeah, and this one.
Okay, is there more beige here?
It's a beige one. This one is there for look.
It's got a hammock too, so cool space, but I don't know how practical for meditation.
I think you would sit on the sofa on the right-hand side and meditate
probably
there. Sit with cross-legged there, and then just meditate.
It's got a boat coffee table.
It has
got a boat coffee table, maybe.
Pretty cool coffee table. I like the coffee table.
It is.
Yeah.
Kind of jealous of the space.
Yeah,
so that's why
it's actually a very nice space, very nice aesthetic. The interior designer on that one did a lovely space.
This I think's cool, just because you can look outside nature. This would be a good place to have morning coffee, I think, minus the Buddha head there. And that's another thing. I'm not on board with the Buddha heads as much, because it's just like decapitate the Buddha and then hold that like a trophy, so...
You know the story about Descartes. When he died, he was a very tall man, and he was very much into the separation of mind and spirit, mind and body. He said, they don't sort of meet. And actually, it turns out he's so tall that when he died, they actually had to put his head couldn't fit in, so they cut it off. And it's actually in one place, and it's masked. It's like in a whole different country from the body. So there you go.
I wonder if he's still thinking, and therefore he is wherever his head's at, or if his body's doing it too, or whatever. But now this looks like a tree house. I don't know about the yin yang symbol, but that is an interesting space. If it is actually a tree house, I think that might just be I don't know, but very earthy.
It's a cool space. It's again that kind of slightly wicker, plant space.
That's right.
It looks like it's probably got stained glass windows that are green.
Oh, there we go.
And with trees and branches, and it's got a yin yang at the bottom. It looks a bit, created for the purposes. I don't know whether anybody would actually use it. Maybe they would, but it's quite small and you couldn't have it as like a group experience. And I like to meditate not on my own. I like to meditate with at least one other person. The whole thing is just that much easier.
Cool. Well, I'm on both. Now I think this is one of the cave entrances, so there's not really much to say about that. And I think we're gonna have to pick it up here with our time. I can check here. So this looks like it's partially outside here too. Triangle windows are very interesting. So maybe part of a geodesic dome. This one looks like it's a little bit neglected. Looks like there's stains and wood rot on here too. And yeah, it looks like it needs a little redo. And of course there's the devotional space over here.
It looks very pretty. It has got a meditation kneeling stool, and they can be quite comfortable. So yeah, that looks like it actually might look like somebody. This one is beige. Next
beige.
One is beige. We're into the beige. Yes.
This looks like a neo-Japanese or like an American Japanese or postmodern Japanese or something Western style. Yeah. Wow, this is kind of whitewashed. This looks like maybe in an attic space or something, converted attic space. Of course, contrived for the picture, right?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. You could meditate at one end in the sofa there. That would be quite a nice space. But you'd be having your back to the window, and I think you'd want to look at the window. So I think that's just an image one.
More Japanese inspired.
This is Japanese, I think.
Mhm.
Actually, it looks like it might be in Japan.
It looks like a tea ceremony site or a tea spot too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Bonsai
It was
tree on the right.
beautiful.
It does. Yeah.
But yeah,
Another. Maybe that's a Brahma Vihara head with the four
yeah.
faces. We've got like the what is the symbol there? The Om
Om Mani
symbol.
Padme Om, I think.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
And some hippie
And
looking zafus. I don't know what
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so wow, lots of colors there. More Zen or Japanese inspired, and it looks like it opens to the outside there.
Yeah, it looks nice. A nice space. This is.
Mhm.
Go to the next one. That's quite a nice. I mean, it's quite nice to have triangles. Actually,
Yes, it
triangles
is.
are actually, they do make it nicer than the sort of lots of, very square lines.
Yes, and that one is to showcase that triangular shelf, which I would
Yeah.
is very nice. This is like a really high end space. It looks like it opens out to a deck, and it looks like it's pretty high up with the tree there, and the great
Yeah.
opening on the skylight up there, kind of more
Yeah.
Asian
That's
too. Go ahead.
Japanese. I would say Japanese
I'm sorry.
inspired.
Yeah, Japanese. Yeah.
Yep.
This looks more
So-
like a little bed nook. I don't know what this is, but it may be Middle Eastern. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it starts to go more towards there, doesn't it? It's sort of more. Yeah, I mean, it does have. I mean, the Buddha was in Afghanistan, so
That's right.
yeah,
There's sticks
yeah,
up top. Seeing that? No.
so there are a lot of. It might have been somewhere in sort of like Afghanistan area, that kind of area.
Potentially, yeah. Got the Buddha eyes here. A Buddha image, a gong. It looks like somebody's corner. They converted a corner here.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd want to ring gong in a small space like that. Gong.
I think this might actually be somebody's guest room, like an Airbnb guest room or something. We could also double as a meditation room, a Buddhist inspired room here.
Very Buddhist
Could be wrong.
inspired.
Yes. And then we've got a traditional meditation hall. It looks like.
It looks like
Prajna. I see Prajna, which is wisdom.
Okay.
I don't know the other ones.
Yeah, so that would be Western inspired. Go back, yeah. So
sure.
that's some sort of Western inspired. I can't imagine any Tibetan place looking like that.
No.
This is a Western inspired Buddhist space with the lotus there, the lotus flower at the in the window at the end. So
Circular roof.
nice circular roof. Nice space.
Or I should say half circular. So here's one of these geometry things, like a hippie checking it out, see if this sacred geometry does anything. He doesn't look like he's totally convinced at the moment, but
yeah, he looks. Yeah, it does look a bit. He looks a bit silly in that. I think I would feel a bit silly in that. I'm stuck in the garden or something. Hey man, it just looked.
Nice.
There was a television series, an English television series in the 1980s, I think, and it was called The Young Ones, and it looks like the sort of thing Neil would have done if you knew The Young Ones. This would make sense to anybody who knows that television.
It was. There was a friend of mine somehow got a hold of that in the States, and I need to revisit that. I have heard lots of good things about that show. But okay, another kind of more traditional meditation space here, right?
Yeah, that looks. I think that looks like a nice place to go. I want to go there. I want to go. Can I go there?
Yes. Well, yeah. Whoever space that is, please reach out to Wendy sooner rather than later.
give it to me for free. I want sponsorship. You can pay for flights too.
So we've got
a nice space.
Yeah, this is kind of a pod. I was wondering about like pre-manufactured spaces. So we're just going to keep going here. Here's a cave, which is my goodness.
Go back to the pod. Go back to the pod. I know we're wrapping up. But what I like about that, because it doesn't matter if we get to the end. It doesn't matter if we get to the end. You want to get to the end. All right. But what I like about that is you could sit in that and it would actually feel quite contained and look out. So I think that you would feel quite protected in that. And
it is.
Yeah.
At the same time, not claustrophobic though. So I'm just going to go through. This is some kind of strange prefabricated pod here. This is. I saw one.
You were in a cave. You were in a cave. Go back.
Yes.
Go back.
Yes.
So that one there, that looks like a sort of some guy in India looks slightly uncomfortable actually sitting there cross-legged. Yeah, that's a rubbish one. That's a contrived one. All right.
I think these are some kind of pods or tents for bigger spaces. Pacific Domes is actually the company, so check that company out. This looks a little bit prefabricated. This looks like some kind of temple. Another classic meditation space. Same here.
See, here
This
we're
is a cave. Go ahead.
yeah, no, those ones look like the sort of places you would actually go to if you went to a meditation place.
Sure.
This is what would be. They
That's
would
right.
definitely look like
Exactly.
that.
Like a Buddhist meditation center. Yeah. Now this is just an outdoor space. I don't think those pods are functional. This is somebody's room. Now this is an outdoor space. These kind of pavilions or something. Of course, this has been converted into a room. We've seen several like this. Now this is inside of. I'll show you later. Take note of this. This is the inside of a big metal dome that looks interesting. This is partially outside. Again, another sacred geometry thing. Another home space. This is a geodesic dome. Now, I actually been in this. This is an SIU Edwardsville. I did a sound bath, a sound gong in this place. So Buckminster Fuller. It's actually the Buckminster Fuller Dome, was a famous architect.
He's an
Again,
interesting
another.
guy, actually, Buckminster Fuller. He's a very interesting
Yes.
guy, quite thoughtful, I gather.
Now here's a place outside that's made of natural stones. We don't see the inside of it. Don't know where it's at. Again, another more traditional meditation space. Another pyramid pod outside. Just a little nook outside. This is.
I don't know. You think you should be taking psychedelics by having that one? That's good.
Exactly.
It's got some weird thing. Anyway.
Yes. Now this is the dome I mentioned of. Let me go back real quick to the internal space that supposedly is inside. You can see the top roof that kind of reflects of this. I don't know where this is. Maybe somewhere in India. It's pretty massively unique. This is a yurt, and then I don't know where that is. Looks more
That's
traditional
like a pretty
meditations.
standard shrine room. This is clearly a yoga
Yes.
space, but they do lots of exciting things. They're standing there, being in
Yes.
contorted spaces.
And I think this is one of those tents that I said of the name drop, the company I name dropped, a bigger one of those that one can self assemble. This is partially covered with earth, which is pretty cool, I think. But I don't know how moist and damp that would be in there and
Yeah.
clean it would be, but very earthy. This one is partially inside, I think, but it looks like it's outside. But I can't tell with the. It could just be a
It's a
room, another room.
courtyard.
Yeah, it very well could be. Can't see the ceiling or the other side, but yeah, pretty wild. So again, Pacific Domes, that's the company, and then Fire Mountain, India, I guess, is where that particular one is. This is a cave in Thailand, I presume. This looks very Zen, or I mean, yeah, the Japanese inspired with koi pond, maybe.
Yeah.
Cave. There's famous meditation caves. Another indoor space, more traditional classic one. This is like an earthen hut or pod.
Oh, what do they call the Earth ship?
Yeah, earthship houses. That's another thing I'm maybe looking into. This looks like it's yeah, maybe a prefab or made small space. This is what we saw at the beginning. I think that's when it's full of meditation cushions. Maybe the space in New York, I'm not sure. Wow, I don't remember where this is, but this is interesting. The ceiling on that is incredible.
Yes.
Another cave. This is a
It looks like
one
a
of the
kuti or
cooties.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, a cootie at a meditation space. I think that maybe Beth Upton had recommended people can do long personal retreats at. I'm blanking on the name of it now. We actually showed this already. These are some famous meditation caves. I don't know where in China. This is another one of a space with Beth Upton recommended. Again, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on it where it is. This is the Maharishi Dome in Iowa. Big TM center, or I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, so just forget I said that. I don't own the copyrights to that either. Now this is a pod, a meditation pod. This is a Zendo, right? Traditional Zendo. This is some temple somewhere in India, I presume. Maybe a cave. This is another cave.
Oh, that one's in
Wendy,
a root system of a tree.
I know.
That's pretty cool.
I know. Isn't it all the carvings? I don't know if those are actual roots or not, but it says meditation cave down there. Again, another cave. This is a pod. This is real interesting. That looks maybe Malaysian. No, I don't know where that would be.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like it might be Malaysian because it looks very influenced by Islam. And
Okay. Mhm.
and Indonesia is Muslim. It's the largest, I think,
I see.
largest Muslim country in the world. Muslim, highest, most population.
Here's an ancient temple. The website's down there. You can see on the screen, and
Oh, we had that one before. So
I
yeah,
know that's a double. Sorry, I forgot to take the doubles out. And this is another interesting one, I guess, because I have the sand in the middle of the room, and
we saw
there's
that
the
one
Buddha.
before, and it looked different. I
Uh,
thought.
or it might have been. Well, I know we had a sand thing in the middle, but this might be different. Yeah, it might be different. It might just be a similar circle with sand on it, and they've got a loose Buddha hand there. We've seen that before. Sorry about that. I think I have double versions of this. I don't know where that's. This is another temple, I guess. Um, very rudimentary stone on the outside there, but a really nice floor, which is really interesting. The concrete cinder blocks, but then it's got a really nice floor. This looks nice. It looks partially brick, but then wood on a pond.
Yeah, that may be
Little
Korean or something. That looks
shrine.
Tibetan, definitely.
I see. This looks bizarre. I don't know what these. This must be not Buddhist, but some. I don't know. I have no idea. It looks really interesting.
Yeah, I don't
Purple
know.
though.
Not yeah.
I like this. I use this one for the main image for the post, and it looks like there's a nice sliding glass right to the elements there. I don't, uh, yeah, and some natural stones, but it does look inside indoor. Another little earthen pod hut.
Okay,
Little
Josh.
this.
So we're coming up to the end. Have we got many more?
Okay.
Because let's do a quick overview of
Sure.
basically what do we reckon about what are we sort of what's our sense about all these spaces, what works. I mean, I guess it's everybody has their thing, everyone can do what they want.
Yeah.
You know, the main thing is to find the thing that works for you. And that's yeah, and western places differ from, you know, it's culturally western, it looks western, and that differs from what you see in Myanmar and India and Malaysia and other places, Japan, other places, so China. So yeah, I think there's often quite a, how would I say, a contrived thing in the because
Yes.
you can make there's a lot of people wanting to part with money these days. So I'm not sure that. Yeah, I think be careful where your cash is for sure.
Yeah, you know, this brings up a lot of things. One of the reasons I did this is because I wanted to find out, and then we're green sharing now. If I were to get land and I wanted to build my own structure for myself and others, what would I do? You know, how would I do it? And if I inspire others, you know, to either make the space that they have into something they can actually do a formal sitting practice at, either alone or with another or in a group, you know, and to just get inspired about a sitting and then with people with a little bit more money, I would encourage you to find and build a unique space and invite others and have others access to others that you would like to do that. That's where I was really coming from with this. Now, I love Wendy's analysis on each of these too, and we can go in and discern and use discernment on, you know, what things are doing, how we feel about them, and ideas around them. And so I enjoyed that as well with this, you know, the kind of the do's and don'ts of meditation spaces. Well, kind of based on our preferences, but, you know, maybe there's some more universal aspects there too.
Yeah, I think, you know, if there's a place in your, if there's a meditation place in your area, like close by, then frequent it. Go, you know, make it, use it, because then that makes it better. That makes space better. It means it becomes bigger and more popular. And if you live in a place like I do, where there ain't none of that, there's nothing for a long way away. I mean, I'm in quite a poor area, so there's just not that, and there's a lot of people who are homeless. So it's interesting. Would I do that now? The gym is going to have a bit of a space, and I was thinking, oh, I could just set up a little bit there, a meditation space. So yeah,
Yes.
that's that.
Do it and go on retreat too. Ask people about where to go on retreat. Suggest to your friends, hey, what you ever thought about setting up a meditation space there? Or hey, what do you think? How do you think I should set up a space here? You know, maybe make it social. I don't know.
I mean, I've got my place and I don't have a meditation space. I just have my bed and I sit in my
Hey,
bed and
that's
I
right.
squish my pillows.
That works. Yes, wherever, however, you've got to do it. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, and I think with that, we'll see you back here. We plan to see you back here again, and plan to see Wendy back and be back here again next month, where we do how time meditates, and maybe one after that on what we talked about earlier. So until then, take good care of yourselves.
Yeah, have fun.
Yes. Bye now.
Bye.